Hey guys, it's Chris from the Ultimate Recycler. We're in our studio here today where I do a lot of table tennis training. My regular viewers know I'm quite fond of table tennis, and I'm involved in a club locally, or about half an hour away in a bigger town, and they gave me this. Now, they didn't give it to me as a present. They said the club has been donated this training robot. It's a table tennis training robot. In fact, they've been donated two that had been in storage for a long time, and apparently they're not working. And of course, most of my fellow club members know that I like to fix everything I can get my hands on and save stuff from being thrown out. So I thought I might as well film sorting out this table tennis robot, see if we can get it working. I don't need one as a gift anyway, because I've got a good one over there that I do use sometimes. But hopefully we can get this sorted out and get it going for the club to use. It was nice for someone to actually donate it to the club. And it's no good if it doesn't work. So it's quite dusty. I have just brushed it off, but we will open it out and we'll see if we can work out what it's doing or what it's not doing, what we have to do hopefully to get it operational. And here's the control box. So we'll fumble through this blindly and see if we can sort it out. Now, while it's a similar style to my robot, I've never heard of this brand before. It's a new Super Master robot ping pong. It's got Asian writing here. It's probably made in China, and the control panel has most of half the instructions in, looks like Chinese as well. But hopefully we can work out what's going on with it. But I need to fold it out. The wings fold down, and if you've never seen a table tennis robot before, whether I get this one working or not, we'll have a bit of a demo at the end of this video. And if I can't get this one going, I'll put my other one on the table and you can have a look. But they are a great training thing, and when you have juniors in a sports club, it's really good to have them trained up. So we'll try and open it out. I might move the camera back a bit, and we'll see, firstly, to make sure it's complete and not damaged. Okay, it's been twitched up with some wire here. We'll get that out of the road. And if we, there's cords everywhere, actually. Certainly hasn't been packed up very well. So this is a capture net, so that when you do play the table tennis balls back into the robot, it recycles them. All right, so it's back to front at the moment. I'll spin it round. So now you can see how the concept works. This head actually shoots the ball out over the other end of the table, and then you hit the ball back and it goes into the capture net. The balls roll back down to the middle section where they're picked up and fed back through the robot. So if you can put the ball back into the capture net every time, the thing will go until you drop from exhaustion. But if you keep missing, eventually it runs out of balls and you have to top it up. These are side nets that go down either side of the table. I think you'll be able to see this side. So they stretch either side of the table so that the balls don't go off the sides. Now, I did just notice one thing. It's had an Australian plug put on it, and it doesn't look very safe, so I'm probably going to have to rewire that, but we'll hopefully be able to test it. There's a power pack here. I'm not sure what voltage it runs off. 15 volts, 6 amps. So for a start, we need to make sure the power pack's working, and we'll see if the thing fires up. I'm guessing most of the problem will probably be just the machine picking the balls up, because it's been in storage a long time and they're very dirty and dusty. And because it works on rubber rollers, I would suggest that it's probably not shooting them out properly because everything's just dirty. Hopefully that's all that's wrong with it. So I think I'll move the camera, I'll put this up the other end of the table and I'll mount it properly and I'll plug it in and we'll power it up just as it is and see what happens. Now it mounts on the table on those two prongs at the front, you can see. So they just clip under the end of the table and it rests on that panel there. And it needs to be flush with the edge of the table. And you can see how the capture net works now. So the net's actually in good condition, but I only have one mounting spike. I don't have one for the other side. Now my machine hooks up differently, so I don't actually have this set up for mine. And basically that's how we do the side nets. But I can't put the other one on at this stage. Now I think it would be sensible to clean this out a bit first. I'll just dampen it down so the dust doesn't float everywhere. We'll just try and stop any more dust getting up into the motor section, which I'm sure there will be some in there. Certainly quite grubby in here. And it's got springs down here, I'll show you a bit later when we move the camera, that feed the balls up the chute up here, and they're quite rusty. So I don't know how we're going to get around that. Now I think this cover should unclip and come out somehow. And the balls are dropping down. There's clips on the other side though. Okay, that's got that out. We'll clean that chute up a bit. It's not too bad in there. And there's a little drive motor down here which drives this bottom rotator. Let's get these balls out. They're very old ones. I think we will possibly get rid of these. So there's a little drive motor and these springs. There's three springs here, and you can see they're quite rusty. So I'd say this has been stored in a shed somewhere, and that rotates and it pushes the balls up through the chute here and feeds the robot head. I guess the springs allow for a bit of pressure relief. If they jam the balls up, at least these will spring back out of the road and it won't actually dent the balls or cause any damage to the drive here. So yeah, that doesn't look damaged at all, and it's not too bad inside. It's quite dirty up around the top here, so you can see it's certainly been stored in a shed in not so favourable conditions. But at least inside looks okay. I don't know about inside the head, and that looks like you can see a ball in there, and that's a rubber coated wheel, and that's certainly going to need a good clean. But I reckon we'll fire it up. I'll just put the cover back on, we'll put some clean balls in, and we'll just see if it actually works. So I've now connected the power up to the control box here, and it goes straight to the machine and operates the robot. So let's hope this powers up okay. We have no power. Why do we have no power? Okay, we do have power now. I just wobbled the plug and it must have been a bit loose. Not sure why it's flashing. Oh, it spoke to me. So the motor in the head of the robot's running, and I'm not sure why it's flashing. This is completely different to mine. So, oscillator speed.
1, 2.
Oh, it counts for me. So that's the speed of the robot oscillating from one side of the table to another. Then we have ball frequency. It's how often it shoots the balls out.
4, 5.
So maybe 5. Top wheel speed.
3,
Or that makes the motor go faster.
2, 1.
And that will determine how much top spin's on the ball.
3,
Let's leave it at 3. Bottom wheel speed.
1, 2, 3.
If we make that the same speed, it should give a ball with no spin on it. What do you think, Coco? You ready for a game? Yeah? Okay, I don't know that she can hold a bat. Now, how do we just press start?
Start.
Oh yes, there we go, the balls are feeding up. It has to fill the tube before the robot operates. Oh, that's shooting them out. And now it's run out, so it needs more in the bottom to feed them up. And that shot them way over the back there, and luckily Coco doesn't chase them. Okay, I've put some more balls in the robot, so it's got enough to feed up. I'm going to tone the speed down a little bit to
2,
just 2 on the bottom wheel and the top wheel, and we'll press start, and it should serve, but I don't know how fast it's going to go.
start.
Right, way too fast, and it's too bouncy. So we can adjust the head angle. That's just a physical adjustment. And we need to drop the speed down even more.
1, 0.
Okay, it's on 1 now. Let's see what it does.
Start.
So that's actually working on oscillation. All right, this thing's working quite okay, I think. So Coco, are you going to pick the balls up? All right, so the machine's run out, it's emptied the bottom hopper. It appears to be working fine. Well, if Coco's not going to pick the balls up, I guess I have to. With my magic bucket on a stick. Oh, you're a bit late. Hey, I saw that. Come back here. What a devil of a dog this one is. Give me the ball back. In case you were wondering, there's just some strings across the bottom of the bucket, and as you push it over, it picks the balls up. Saves an achy back. And here's the one Coco picked up. Isn't she helpful? So I'm going to give this a good clean out, because even though it's working, it shouldn't be as dusty as it is. And I noticed there's a wing nut on this side. And I think there's supposed to be one on the other side, but it appears to be missing. And this whole mechanism will come out. And we can then take it back to the workshop and just give it a really good clean out, because I think these rubber wheels do need a bit of a clean, and it's certainly pretty dirty. And look at all the, oh, there's the other clip. Look at all the dirt underneath there. So we will need another wing nut for that side, unless it's in here. I don't know what that's off. All right, I better vacuum that out and I'll give it a good clean up, and then we'll give it a proper test. But I do need to check this plug, because I'd say it's just been fitted, because it probably came out to Australia with a Chinese plug on it, and the wires are not going through the strain relief pegs inside, so it would be very easy to pull the wires straight out of the plug, so that needs fixing. But really, I think the rest of it's just a clean up, and it should be operational for the club. Back in the shed now, and I thought rather than rewire this plug, it'd be much easier just to provide a new cord, because it's a standard figure 8 plug and it goes in the power supply fine. I've cleaned the power supply up, it works beautifully, and that's a nice clean, essentially new plug. So happy to donate that. But we will have a quick look at this, and I'll show you exactly why I don't consider it safe. And I certainly can't put a safety test tag on it. You're supposed to have the wires loop around inside the plug to provide some strain relief in case it gets a tug. And you should be able to see the wires loop over those little plastic pins inside. And of course, we can't see anything. And also, this little nut on the end is supposed to clamp up on the wire. The wire is much too thin and it does nothing. So there's really nothing really to stop the cord or the wire being pulled out of the plug, other than the bare wires screwed on the terminals. So it's not considered safe. We might as well pull it apart and just see if they actually got it wired the right way, because even though it's AC power, they are supposed to be wired the right way. There is a polarity, and the active wire is supposed to go to the right-hand pin when they're held this direction. Let's see if they actually got this right. Now, these are sometimes a bit hard to get into because the plastic goes hard over the ears, but we kind of have to flex it off the center part without stabbing ourselves with the screwdriver. So they usually stretch a bit. It helps when they're warmer, and it's quite chilly in my shed now, but I think we'll get it off. And I don't have to be too careful because I'm not reusing it. Okay, there we go. So let's, oh well, at least it's wired the right way. So the active is going to the right pin, but it's not a particularly neat job, but it does look fairly secure. But then these wires, as I said, are supposed to loop around these little pins here. So you would need to bare a lot more of the insulation off here and loop this individual wire, and there's not enough to do it, around that pin and then back to provide some relief from just the screws holding it. And it wouldn't take me a lot to be able to pull that free. So there we go. That wasn't safe. At least it would not pass a safety test. And we don't have to worry about fixing it because I've got another cord, so I'm just going to chop this one off. Well, I might as well undo it. And I'll probably keep the plug because it might be suitable. It's got the insulated pins. It will be suitable for another job if I have to put a new plug on something. Geez, that was only just hanging on, that one. And that one was only hanging on by a few millimeters, so it really wasn't that well done. And with a thicker cord, the nut will actually squash up and provide some strain relief there as well. So I'll hang on to that one. The wire can go in our insulated wire scrap bin, and our power supply is then right. I just have to clean up the rest of the robot and put it back together and give it a test. I just decided I should clean these pickup springs up, so you can see I've cleaned two. I'm just taking them off one at a time. You can see how rusty they were. And I just buff them up on the wire wheel, so they're coming up a lot better. But certainly the robot has been stored in conditions that are quite damp for that to rust. Everything else looks okay. We'll take the head unit apart and just make sure the rubber rollers are nice and clean. I decided not to dismantle the head. It does come in half. There's screws on either side, but it would mean splitting these stickers and also the sticker around here. So rather than mess up the stickers, I decided it wasn't worth the effort because you can get to the rollers really easily in here. It's probably a bit dark, but hang on, I'll get a little cotton bud here. So you can see if the camera's focusing okay. That's the bottom roller. The top one's identical. There's nothing else in that head. That's all there is two drive motors. Now I wiped the rubber over with some isopropyl alcohol. Obviously it had a little bit of black grime on it, a bit of dust. So I was able to reach in with a rag soaked in IPA and spin the wheel from the other side with my other finger and just wipe the rag right around it. It did get a little bit more black off it. I'm not sure if we can see it now, but they weren't overly dirty. Oh, there's the patch. So yeah, that's off both rollers. So they weren't overly dirty. I'm confident they're nice and clean now. The rest of it's all cleaned up, so we just need to assemble it. The robot's all back together and set up on the table again. I found another bolt and a wing nut to mount the other side. I did have to drill out the plastic just a little bit because I couldn't find a bolt small enough, but it works fine. Everything's ready to go there and it's nice and clean. The control unit, I think, is supposed to flash until you actually turn it on. When it's running, it doesn't flash. I did notice we had issues when I first plugged it in and I had to wobble the plug, but if I touch the power plug, it stops. So I think it's got a bad, no, it's not even going to go now. All right, so I need to look at that before we finish up. There's definitely a bad connection in there, so that'll have to be fixed as well. Okay, it will stay on long enough to make sure all the other functions of the robot work, so we'll have a few shots with it, test out the backspin, the top spin and the oscillation, and then we'll go and just sort that power supply unit out, but pretty well it's right to go otherwise. Okay, the robot is set to backspin. If you don't know much about table tennis, there's a lot of spins involved, and I'll play a few shots just with the bat flat to show you what backspin does. See how the ball goes down. So the only way to play backspin is to lift underneath or top spin. So the backspin on the machine works very well. Let's set it to top spin. And now the robot is set to top spin. So I'll show you what it does if I have my bat flat. The ball goes high. So to counter that, you've got to block over the top of the ball. Or if you're adventurous, you can go back and chop. And of course, you can actually attack it with a faster shot. Now the robot also has an oscillator setting, so it can move the head so it aims either side of the table or different segments, and that's good for footwork drills. And all the functions, the speed, the different spins, the angles, the frequency can all be adjusted on the control box. So it seems to be performing very well, goes through its paces. And when I finish a bit of a robot training session, I pick all the balls up because eventually they all end up on the floor. and I just serve them back into the capture net just to practice some serves. Get that one back. Okay, let's have a quick look in this control box and see why our power input socket is causing issues. It actually doesn't look very well aligned there, so it might be slightly bent. If it's soldered directly to a circuit board, I can almost guarantee that it's cracked the solder. So I think it should be a pretty straightforward fix. We just need to get into here and actually do it. And then the whole unit's ready to go back to the club, and hopefully they can put it to good use. Okay, is that all we need to do? There we go. There's a ribbon cable going from the back, so there is a board that the sockets are soldered in directly to, and it's back in there. Let's have a look at the solder joints. I'm pretty sure one of those is going to be cracked. I'll have to get my magnifying glass and have a quick look. So I've just had a close look at this, and I don't actually think the terminals are cracked. They look okay. The body of the socket has a very light crack in the case, allowing it to flex a little bit, but that's not the main problem. The main problem is actually corrosion in the end of this plug. If we can get a close-up without losing focus, it's certainly been in unfavourable conditions. It looks okay on the outside, but it's a bit corroded in there. So I'm going to clean it out as best I can, and I'll spray a bit of deoxit in there, and it should be good to go. I don't think, even though that socket is a little damaged with a small crack to the housing, it still seems to plug on firmly. So I reckon if we clean the plug up, we'll be right to go. And I've put it back together and it works perfectly. For those that didn't catch it, deoxit is the product I use. This is a D5, which is good for switches and any areas where you get a bit of corrosion that muck up an electrical contact. It's not cheap stuff, but it's very good. I do have a link in my Amazon store if you'd like to buy it. Now, I have to admit, I do get a small commission out of sales through my Amazon store, but it's a good way to support the channel and it doesn't cost you guys any extra. So there we go, job's finished. It kind of was a repair job in a fashion, more probably a service, and that's what happens when equipment gets left in sheds. And I think there might have even been mice in that at one stage. So get a bit of corrosion, it plays havoc with electrics, and of course it plays havoc with rubber drive wheels and things, which the robot needs to be clean and grippy to put all that spin on the ball. So a bit of a service, a bit of a repair, a bit of a help my local club out. Happy to do this for them for nothing, and I've taught you guys a little bit about table tennis. So thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.